So I came across this short a while back and I thought, whoa, that's unreal. Then I realized, oh, that's not real. A Nadarian like this would never have complex eyes, let alone any kind of facial expression. Clearly, this is AI. But I felt pretty uncomfortable from that brief moment where I, a biology researcher and creator, said whoa and immediately believed what I saw. Because that brief belief signaled to me a huge problem. Not just for myself in the little videos I make about animals, but for the field of science as a whole. The AI cat is out of the AI bag. Fake content mimics reality with AI that is good enough to make anything look believable these days. Like this leaf thing that somehow morphs into a small alien creature. Oh, wait. That's real? Yeah, this is a leaf-mimicking spider, and it's far from the only real animal that seems AI generated. A lot of organisms are fucking weird. I usually try to highlight this and explain how their weirdness came to be, or how they use this weirdness to exist in their current environment. Like other leaf-mimicking spiders, or elaborate pufferfish sand art, a deer that decided to have vampire fangs instead of antlers, a lizard that shoots blood from its eyes, which I'm not going to show because YouTube loves to demonetize me, a separate issue to maybe sit down and talk about sometime. Goblin sharks, tree hoppers, saiga antelopes, all very real animals that are morphologically or behaviorally unique. And we like to celebrate their differences. Meanwhile, here is a channel that makes realistic AI animals, even including a fake scientific name and short description, just like a real biology channel would. I've noticed a common concept is a bug that turns into a flower, because that's a cool idea, I guess. Let's read some comments. This is the most fantastic thing I have ever seen in my life. Super cool, 100. Crazy that would tip me off that this wasn't AI wasn't the bug, but how slow that bike was going. This is beautiful and amazing, shows what nature can do. So a lot of people are seeing this and believing that it's real. Of course, there are others that express derision that people can't obviously tell that this is AI. I mean, who would believe in an animal that turns into a plant? See the problem? Now, this channel openly states that it's using AI. The descriptions, I think, are fantastical enough that they're not intentionally trying to trick people into believing these things, but they're not making it clear that it's fake either, and that's not always going to be obvious. This is some stuff that my grandma sent to my mom to send to me. I think she thought that this was cool biology stuff for me to see, because older folks often think these things are real. And it's not just old people. Like I said, I was tricked with the jellyfish video, and with the deep sea being so mysterious, or night camera-esque footage being black and white and blurry enough, we can get a lot of very realistic looking, believable fake videos that can convince people that megalodons are still out there, that these rabbits were on this trampoline, and that this dog and cat and fox are best friends, whatever. People used to say, if it wasn't caught on film, no one would believe you. Now, that just doesn't work anymore. When seeing is no longer believing, how will you believe anything that you see? You know, scrubbing through these comments, I've noticed there's a common sentiment that if you can't immediately tell that something is AI, that you're stupid and technologically illiterate and should be ran through with a spear. But there are lots of people, not just older folks, who aren't familiar with this technology. Also, people on their phones scrolling for hours on end aren't going to be at their sharpest. And let's be honest, short-form vertical content isn't exactly designed for you to think critically about it. It's also just getting better and more realistic as the days go on. So get off your high horse and have some acknowledgement that one day you will be tricked by AI. It's probably an AI-generated horse that you're on, and you didn't even notice. Hi. I'm in a river. Can I tell you guys why I like biology? I love how fascinatingly diverse life can be. Every organism, even the simple-looking ones, are so complex that we barely scratch the surface to understanding them. That's why I'm out here. I'm running an experiment to try and learn just a little bit more about biological history. Because if we do, it can inform us of broader patterns that we can apply to other life. Also, it's just cool. I'm a curious ape. Come with me. I want to show you something. But before I do, I wanted to tell you about another thing that you shouldn't solely rely on AI for, and that's medical advice. Speaking of, it's a new year, and I've made a resolution to myself to take my health more seriously. But I hate the process of waiting for a doctor's office to be open, then being put on hold just to wait weeks for my appointment. Not to mention, it's always a risk that a doctor isn't a good fit, or very trustworthy, or compassionate at all. That's the beauty of ZocDoc, today's paid partner sponsor. ZocDoc is a free website that helps you easily book high high-quality in-network doctors to find someone you love. Whether it's dermatology, dentistry, primary care, or eye care, or one of over 200 more specializations, you can easily search by specialty or symptom to build the care team that's right for you. My favorite part about ZocDoc is getting to see doctors' real-time availability, so that you can book them instantly right from your device, right from your bed. You can choose to meet in person or on video, and get access quickly, usually within 24 to 72 hours, or sometimes even on the same day. With thousands of verified patient reviews, ZocDoc will help you find the perfect doctor for you, so that you can feel confident about who's giving you medical care. You can visit the link ZocDoc.com/daninblue, or click the link in the description, or scan the QR code on screen to learn more. Thank you to ZocDoc for sponsoring this video.
These are dance flies, and they are role reversed, meaning the females display ornaments which they use to attract males. Usually it's the other way around. Think the flashy colors of a peacock or the large antlers of a stag. Here, however, it's flipped. The females are the showy ones, and they compete to impress males by puffing out their orange abdomens and holding their scaly legs salaciously along the perimeter. My first PhD chapter is related to figuring out why this is, because despite how weird or different some life forms may seem, they follow the same universal rules, have similar strategies and environmental pressures, and are all a part of a lineage that diverged from ours at some point. We can call them weird, but to themselves and to the universe, they make perfect sense. We really don't know a lot about these flies, but we should. By looking into their ecology and evolutionary history, we can learn more about how the world works more broadly. I mean, role reversals occur all throughout nature, in birds, fish, mammals, and it would be pretty neat to fully understand why. Plus, it can potentially break down some biases about universal sex roles across animals, which people often apply to humans. What I'm trying to say is what makes the weirdness and intricacies of every organism so fascinating and so useful is the fact that they are not made up. It's reality being strange, but still being reality that's the interesting part. When using AI to generate animal videos, this all gets messed up. I could claim that there's this role-reversed fly, where the females inflate their abdomens in a balloon in a kind of fast dating contest to attract males, and someone could say, yawn, obviously AI, and choose not to believe me.
If we have to doubt whether every animal you see online is AI or not, it becomes a lot harder to convince people that biology is useful, cool, and very real, which will stop a lot of knowledge from being spread. There's the false positive, where AI convinces people of something fake being real, and there's the false negative, where the potential for something being AI makes people think that something real is fake. We've seen this play out in the art space for a while now. Many artists have been accused of using AI, when they're really just good at art, or their style has certain traits that are seen often in AI-generated art. Pretty recently, someone posted this AI-generated painting in the style of Monet, and many people responded with negativity. The colors weren't cohesive enough, it didn't have the mess of a human touch, but it was a prank. This is a real Monet. The user that posted it just said that it wasn't, and that it was AI. And so all of this discourse started up despite it being real. This has been happening in the art community for some time, but now I'm starting to see it in science. There have been a number of high-profile nature documentaries. The Americas with Tom Hanks, Oceans with David Attenborough, and Our Oceans with Barack Obama. Very unique titles coming out of the nature documentary world. And these have had many people wondering if certain scenes were AI generated or not. Many people suspect that it is the case. I don't know. I don't think it ever gets confirmed, but that's a problem, right? Because either the single biggest contributor to people sitting down and learning about biology in nature documentaries with a famous person narrating has a bunch of fake shit in it, or this wonderful footage that was collected, compiled, and edited, and trust me, this is all very hard and time-consuming to do, is written off as lazy, artificially generated product. Don't both these outcomes suck? In my Immortality in Nature video, I have this one image for like 2 seconds that a bunch of people flagged as AI, and I didn't know what they were talking about. So I looked and I learned that when I went to Google Images and got a random photo of Hercules and the Hydra, it turned out to be an AI image. I just didn't notice. My bad. But like, sometimes these things slip through when you're working with so many assets. Also, Google Images is just absolutely cooked with AI everywhere these days. It's crazy how much I type -AI at the end of my searches when I'm working on videos, and it usually doesn't even work that well. Another thing commenters have said are things along the lines of AI-ass script. And I promise, I do not use AI to write my videos. But I have made mistakes in my videos before. In the same immortality video, I said something about how humans back in the day had an average lifespan of 30 years, and how it's cool that we live much longer now. But, as many people pointed out, 30 is an average lowered majorly by infant death, and that healthy adults, even in early history, lived comparable lifespans to those today. That's completely my bad. I admit that, and I appreciate everyone who corrected me. But one person left this long comment about how because I had this fact wrong, obviously I wrote the video with AI, and therefore the rest of the video and all my other videos could not be trusted in any capacity. And it's like, can I not make mistakes anymore? Ideally, I wouldn't, right? I'm an educational channel. I should be accurate for the most part, and I try my best to be. But I'm also a one-human production, so yeah, sometimes the mistakes fall through. Not because I'm AI, but because I'm human. In principle, a tool like artificial intelligence should help us make fewer mistakes, because machines are more consistent than humans. But now it's completely flipped. If I make a mistake, then I'm accused of using AI. Something has gone completely wrong here. When the incorrect flagging of something as AI leads people to dismiss reality, how can we convince people of the truth? The answer is that we can't.
It'll start getting cooler.
I wish science agreed with you.
Well, I don't think science knows, actually.
Already, people refuse to believe science. To anti-vaccine, anti-climate change, anti-seed oils. A lot of myths spread very easily through chit-chat and fear-mongering, and by shouting lies that confirm what people want to believe. It is a psychological truth that we are more likely to believe something is true when it agrees with our pre-existing viewpoint, and we are more likely to disregard something as false when it goes against it. And with AI getting better and better, there will come a day where a video passes your eyeballs and you don't register it as AI in the slightest. And the only thing that will determine whether you believe it or not is whether you want to believe it or not. Or if you don't have a strong belief about the particular topic, you may shift towards what that video wants you to believe. It happens all the time even now. Scientific titles get sensationalized and end up spreading as something that the original studies don't even imply. Like that prefrontal cortex finishes development at 25 thing. Surely you've heard this before, you probably think that it's true, but it's just not. There was a study that looked at brain growth into the 20s, and they stopped measuring at 25. They didn't find that it stopped growing. I also found somewhere that a lot of people just kind of averaged a bunch of different studies and landed on 25 as this kind of neat and tidy number. It's unclear how this all got started, but there's no magical shut-off switch that flips for brain growth when you hit a certain age. Not only is everyone going to be different, but brain development is one of those things that's kind of hard to even define in the first place. There's no way to make this claim. But what really makes this factoid so messed up is that 25 is actually a pretty good estimate for when a lot of people start to feel more mature. Maybe due to life experience, maybe it is due to sufficient development in the brain. I think it's mostly life experience, but either way, it's just not something we know is true. Saying the prefrontal cortex finishes development at 25 sounds like a really reasonable and useful fact to share. That's probably why it's spread to the degree that it has. But it's just not something we know is true. That's the problem. When people assume that it is and treat it as a black and white fact, they can start to make unreasonable statements. I'm sorry I cheated on, robbed, beat, and ate you, but I'm only 24. My brain isn't developed. I'm a little baby. Oh, you said kids eat free at this restaurant? Well, here's my driver's license. I'm 24. So, look. I'm 24, and as young and dumb as I am, I don't think I should be avoiding responsibility about my actions and decisions by blaming it on brain development. Some people have brought this number up in legislation, having discussions about the legal adult age being shifted to 25, because anyone younger doesn't have their prefrontal cortex developed, and so they can't make the right decisions for themselves. It drives me crazy. I've had actually smart people parrot this to me, and in general, this is a pretty innocuous fact. So what happens when other facts, drawn incorrectly from science, spread genuinely harmful and malicious ideas? Again, this is already being done. Many pundits that speak from a place of scientific authority deliberately spread misinformation to, I don't know, gain a following or sell a book. One of the most watched videos on the Diary of a CEO, one of the biggest podcasts in the world, is of a lady named Tara Swart, who apparently has an MD and a PhD, but says absolute nonsense for 2 hours. I made a video about it that no one watched a while ago if you're interested, but this is terrible and it happens so often. Millions of people listen to these podcasts. They have a strong influence on what people believe. We've seen it has an influence on how people vote. This stuff has actual societal impact. Add on AI generated videos with hyper-realistic footage of anything and everything, and we're fucked. There will be no way to convince people of the truth, exacerbating the already rampant misinformation issue that we have. Right now, we have realistic AI videos of animals attacking people or cryptids found in the wild. But imagine how corporations and governments could use this for propaganda and fear-mongering. They could tell you that there are blood-sucking demon hornets that will kill you instantly, but can only smell you if you've gotten the latest vaccine. Or they can make a fake video of a reputable scientist saying something terrible to make people hate them and not believe them. It'll be media shaping your opinion more than it's already doing. Not to sound like one of these clankers, but let's shift gears a little bit. I'm currently working on my PhD, and believe me, generative AI is a hot topic amongst the world's top scientific institutions. Not just in student usage, but in faculty and graduate usage. For writing primary literature, doing statistics, and designing research, it's a big ethical debate at every level. There have already been several scandals of researchers using AI to write their papers, and journals publishing them despite some AI hallucinations. You may have heard of the mouse penis diagram, which by the way was not published in a real journal that anyone actually respects. There are a lot of these paper mills where any work can just get accepted so that people can say, hey, this research is published. Again, contributing to the mass misinformation issue, because now people can point to a blatantly bad study and say that there was a published study that showed whatever. But even the most respected journals in the world have had issues with authors submitting papers that have been written with AI now. And it's one thing to have it fix your grammar. It's another to have it doing all the thinking and voicing of your science for you. Because right now, it's making a lot of mistakes. Large language models pull from various sources on the internet. And as we just discussed, there's a lot of misinformation on the internet. Trained scientists in their subfield know and understand their subject in a way that the public just won't. Perplexity is this AI that is honestly quite good at finding and digesting scientific information. I'll fully admit that I have used it before to find sources for my research, because it's annoying to find what I want on Google Scholar most of the time. And truly, this thing does it really well. It can understand what I'm looking for through sentences and what I mean to say, rather than needing me to search up keyword after keyword to try and fish for an article that might not even exist. But it'll also attempt to summarize and explain the papers that it finds for me, and after reading the papers, I'll often realize that it was just flat out wrong. A lot of what it does is extrapolate off of only the abstract, because the full paper is gated behind a paywall that I can only access because I'm part of an academic institution, while it's not. So it just kind of makes stuff up sometimes, or takes the general ideas too far. Additionally, by definition, cutting-edge science attempts to discover novel things. LLMs synthesize things that have already been said. It's not generating new hypotheses or looking at things from a fresh perspective. It can't until a person does it first. Right now, AI models are derivative of humans. That can still be useful at times, but when it comes to furthering a concept, taking a known idea and exploring it further in a way or area that no one has done at all, there is currently no AI with a mythical true intelligence that can do that. If AI is invading several fields in science, then people might start to build their ideas off of those that have no real foundation. You have to know what you're talking about, or you can really risk this. But outside of my subfield, I learn a lot from doing research on the internet as well. So despite trying my best to try and be a reputable scientist, I can just get tricked if the internet is filled with fake AI science. What happens when the day comes that I fall for an AI animal for more than a brief moment. I don't just have an encyclopedic knowledge of every organism that exists. I learn about biology from searching it up too. There are so many crazy organisms that I learn exist when I'm making my videos. If that info is now obscured by myths and fake videos, then how can I believe in these things when I research them, and how can you believe me when I try to tell you about them? If information from every single source is no longer reliable, then even the top scientists in the world are going to know nothing. But you know, the reason I'm upset isn't that. The main reason I made this video is because AI makes the things that I find cool less cool. It used to be that you could show this footage of the most stunning, unique organisms, and it was amazing because despite how unreal it seemed, it was undeniable because someone had captured it. You used to be able to dig out bones from the ground and reconstruct them to show people of the mighty creatures that once roamed the earth. And with that not being the case anymore, my attempts to showcase the natural world on this channel become less impactful. I'm not worried about AI taking my job, for now. There are tons of AI biology channels and they all suck and they don't do well. I hope that part of the value I provide in my videos is in my human voice and perspective. But there are pretty successful YouTube channels in other niches, like sports and economics, that are clearly written, narrated, and animated by AI. Pretty soon, they could be pumping out half-decent nature videos and run me and other creators off of the platform. Hank Green made this nice video recently, where he discussed how educational content takes a lot of time and money to make. And a lot of it that would have an audience to watch it is just not made because of these expenses. It's just easier and more profitable to make other types of videos. I can definitely vouch for the time expense. I mean, just look at my posting history. I take forever to make videos. If AI can just pump these videos out and water down the science niche on YouTube, then even if my videos are better, I'm still gonna be losing so much audience to these half-decent AI channels that post 100 times more than I do. If that happens, I could lose my place on this platform. Or worse, I'd have to resort to writing my videos with AI just to remain competitive. From the invention of the internet to the smartphone to social media, AI is the next big development that is already taken off. The truth is, you are already falling behind if you aren't leveraging it to your advantage. I have found places in my personal and professional life where AI is tremendously helpful and saves me tons of time and effort. In academia, I don't have as much of a problem with people using AI for statistics than I do for using it for writing. Because to me, stats is something with less of a human touch. It still has some. Stats in research aren't that simple and can very often be personal or interpretable. But there are parts of it, like fixing coding errors, sorting data, and running the common tests, that, aside from the environmental impact, I would find perfectly ethical and acceptable. And I know many people that would push back on that. And that's okay. My problem with AI in science is how it's being used and how it will be used. By people, against people. And I don't like how it's making biology less cool, because I find it cool, and I think that other people should find it cool too. I don't really have a solution to the issues I brought up in this video. I guess we can try to individually be critical and skeptical and get used to the things we see not necessarily being true, but we'd have to do this without writing off the real things we see as fake. I don't know, it might just be a losing battle, the ball might be rolling too fast, I don't know. I will end this video by saying that I will never use generative AI to make any part of my videos. I like making things in my voice, I enjoy the creative process immensely, I just don't really see the point. I'm gonna try my best to be as accurate as possible so that I can be a trustworthy source in the biology sphere, but I'm sure I will make mistakes again, so if I ever say something questionable or wrong, don't blindly believe me either. In fact, this entire video, I've been AI. I'm not even here right now. I'm hiding under my bed, safely protected from the blood-sucking demon hornets that are in the air. Anyways, for those who care, I've been really busy with my PhD lately. As you saw, it's my field season. It is currently 3 a.m. and after this, I have to go drive and catch another fly swarm. So I'm insanely busy, and I was pretty busy before the field season as well. It's been great, I've met good people, I've learned a lot of science, but it's definitely slowed me down in the YouTube department. That said, I have no plans on ever abandoning this channel, and I have a lot of human-generated content coming up. It's just gonna take me longer between videos to make sure everything's of a sufficient quality. So if you want to see more stuff from me, I think you should subscribe. Okay, beep boop, bye.